I've recently retired from teaching. So I'm a newbie at being retired. But I have a part-time gig going on. I'm the assistant coordinator for the Master Watershed Stewards in York County. When I tell people that, they look at me weird and say, "What do you do?" I don't know. I take care of trees and riparian buffers. I pull weeds from rain gardens. And I still get blank looks at me like, "A what?" And I have to explain it to them. But once a year, we hold a fishing event for youth at Kiwanis Lake. And I've volunteered at this event for many years. I was a volunteer with the Master Watershed Stewards for about 6 or 7 years now. As a matter of fact, before COVID, there was a single mom that I would help her sons fish and her fish. I think I worked with them 3 or 4 years. And then after COVID, I lost contact with them, which is one of the biggest losses from COVID for me, because I'd love to know where they are today. I know they took up fishing on their own. It was the greatest thing ever. But at any rate, this year we held the event again. And my role was different, expanded, because now I'm an employee. So I was involved in the planning of this fishing event. There's a lot of planning that goes into fishing. I never knew that. I always just showed up on the creek and, threw things in the water. Maybe caught a fish or two. And if I didn't catch any, I'd just say I did. But at any rate, I got to go pick up the fish that we stocked into Kiwanis Lake. I had no idea what that entailed. But I met my buddy Ted at the Wrightsville Rudders, and we headed over to, somewhere in Berks County to pick up these fish at the Kurtz Fish Farm. And they were giving us 300 fish, a mix of catfish, largemouth bass, and sunfish. And they put them in these big bags. And then they pumped these bags full of pure oxygen. And then the bags went in the back of my van. Now, I've never driven around with like 150, 200 fish in the back of my van in big bags. But you could hear the water sloshing around. And I'm thinking to myself, it's a good thing I'm not a smoker, because those bags are filled with pure oxygen. And as you're driving from way far in Berks County, you start thinking, what happens if one of those bags comes open? And the fish were on drugs. They gave them a fish downer so that they wouldn't use so much oxygen and wouldn't splash around. So I'm driving around with high fish and pure oxygen and a lot of them. Never did that before. So we get to the lake, and you have to put the bags in the water and let the temperature equalize a little bit first. You can't just dump them in, because they'll go in shock. So we have all these bags of fish tied on a string floating out into this lake, and one gets away. And it's floating out through the lake. The wind helped us, and a really long stick, and we eventually got this bag back. So we put the fish in the lake eventually, and then the day comes, Friday, September 22. Over 180 young anglers showed up. Most of them never fished before in their life, and they had to have an adult with them. We provided worms, we provided rods, everything they needed. All they needed to do was show up. And they caught fish, all different sizes of catfish, and there's carp in there, which we did not put in, but they caught some of those too. Nobody caught a bass, though. I guess they weren't biting that day. But sometimes when I go fishing, actually, every time when I go fishing, I am truly fishing. Catching is something totally different. I fish because, well, it used to be not work. But on the 22nd of September, fishing and work collided. And I can honestly say the smile on the young guy's face that I was helping fish was the best pay I ever got for fishing.